Chicago World's Fair, also known as the World's Columbian Exposition, was home to many new inventions. It showcased the first Ferris wheel, the first moving walkway, 3 life-size replicas of Columbus's ships, the illusion of moving image, and was the first fair in history to use electricity.
Chicago's lobbyists beat out Washington, D.C., New York City, and St. Louis to house the fair. 23 years before the fair, the Great Chicago Fire had greatly damaged the city. Therefore, this opportunity allowed Chicago to make a new name for itself.
Before the fair, Chicago was known as a crumbling city. Crimes were rampant at 4 murders per day. The focus was towards the wealthy, and the poor lived in squalor.
Children labored heavily. Garbage was strewn in the streets. Rats roamed the city. Smog was heavy, and many were sickly. The director of the fair himself moved to the countryside as he could not withstand the city. However, the World's Columbian Exposition proved Chicago's greatness.
Chicago's reputation went from being the black city to the white city. Railroads, hospitals, police stations, and buildings were built. All was gleaming white. 27.5 million people visited the fair, all wearing their very best clothes.
To rebuild, as much steel as 2 Brooklyn bridges were in use. In total, $30 million were spent. Although the fair brought a new title, it was all just a gilded, false utopia.
Chicago seemed as though it was such a great city, yet on the inside there were very many problems. The fair encouraged racism. It only supplied people with jobs for a limited time. A lot of people who were aiding in the construction of the fair died because of the unsafe working conditions. Female workers got paid 1/10 of what men were. The mayor was assassinated, but the worst thing it brought was America's first mass murderer.
H.H. Holmes is known as the first serial killer. He built a murder castle that he advertised as a hotel with stairs that led to nowhere, windowless rooms, and trapdoors. He confessed to 27 murders, and it was calculated that he murdered up to 250 people. He killed all the people in the hotel by gassing rooms and providing no way to escape. Once they died, Holmes took their bodies and sold them to medical schools for research.
The only reason he had the ability to do this was because all the people that turned up for the fair. H.H. Holmes was the literal devil in the White City. Essentially, Chicago in 1893 was the perfect example of the Gilded Age. On the outside, everything was gleaming white and perfect, but on the inside, it was ravaged with poverty and racism. With everything perfect on the outside and mass murders and unemployment on the inside, Chicago in 1893 can be considered a false utopia.